Today to be interviewing Fischman, author of The French Artillery Officer, Requiem for Richard Cory, and The Skeleton in the Closet. Thank you very much, Mr. Fischman, for meeting with me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Well, first, before we get started into the books, why don't you give me a little bit of background about you?
I enjoyed writing from a very early age. Actually, I wrote a short story when I was 10 or 11 years old. It's my first writing effort.
Did you save all those?
I wish I had, but I didn't.
Didn't save any of those?
No.
So after 40 plus successful years practicing law, what made you decide to write a book?
Oh, golly, that's hard to say. I started The French Artillery Officer, I think probably in about 1997. Just because I had read a book about the Dreyfus case, which is what the French Artillery Officer is based on, and I've always been a Sherlock Holmes fan, and just one day decided to put the two together and did some research into the Holmes canon and found that the Dreyfus case took place in a perfect gap in the Holmes canon. There's an author, William Baring Gould, who is a scholar, I guess, that has organized the Holmes canon chronologically, and there was this gap, and I thought to myself, well, gee, I cannot imagine a case as sensational as the Dreyfus case that would have escaped Holmes's attention, and so it just started happening.
So in this book, The French Artillery Officer, how long did it take you to write this book?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, it was obviously not constant writing.
Right.
I let it lay for months and months at a time. I finally got inspired. For one thing, I was hit a blank wall and didn't know how to end it. None of the characters were telling me how it was going to end. But then my son Charles came out with his first book, and it sort of inspired me to get it finished. Richard Cory was more in line with what your question was, and that is researching place. It's set in rural Maine in 1918, and so I went up to Maine and went through Tilbury Town, which is actually Gardner, Maine. And I got that name from the cover story of Richard Cory, which is a poem by a American poet, Edwin Arlington Robinson, who is the only poem I think I ever actually read from beginning to end when I was in school, and it's only 16 lines.
Where do customers find your books?
The easiest is through Amazon, either paper or Kindle, and they're also available through Barnes and Noble and other booksellers, but they have to order it for you.
I want to talk a little bit about the covers of your books. So how important is the cover to the book, and who has done the covers of your books?
The importance of the cover, I don't know. It's people say that you can't judge a book by its cover, but I tend to disagree with that. Walter Cajas has done my first three covers, and as you can see, since you're holding them, done just an absolutely beautiful job. And that's Walter's input. We collaborate to a certain extent. Like he and I fought about whether the dog on the cover of The Skeleton in the Closet had one eye or two. I finally talked him into giving him two eyes. But Richard Cory is Walter's work. I suggested putting the concluding stanza from the Robinson poem on the cover, but the rest is Walter, and I think it really very much captures the essence of the book. Then the French artillery officer also is, that one's 100% Walter, and I think it's just very clean and elegant, very eye-catching. Everything from the type style to the lamp to the artilleryman's sword.